think we have covered some points in the first unit, that is the compressive force, then the distance of this compressive force from the top fiber that we have evaluated. Just quickly we go through that and then we will move forward. Okay, so we have calculated the compressive force. So I will write over here. The notation for this force is Cu, and what was the value of this force? It is 0.36 FCK B into XU. 0.36 FCK B into XU, that we have evaluated. 0.36 FCK is the stress, and B into XU is nothing but the area. Okay, so stress into area, ultimately you get the force. Then the tensile force Tu is equal to, what was the value of tensile force? It is the stress in the steel, it is 0.87 Fy. How we got this value? 0.87 Fy is the stress in the steel, and factor of safety for the steel is 1.15. If you divide this Fy by 1.15, you will get the factor as 0.87. Okay, so it is 0.87 Fy. This is the stress in steel into area of steel. So stress into area, you will get the force. Okay, so this force is 0.87 Fy into AST. Okay, so quickly I will draw the diagram so that we will recap that and then we will proceed further. So now this is the beam section. This axis is the neutral axis. This is the neutral axis. Then if we draw the strain diagram first, then the diagram will be symmetrical diagram. Okay, so this is the symmetrical diagram. Okay, so now here, what is our maximum strain? What is our maximum strain? Maximum strain is at this topmost fiber, and maximum compressive strain is 0.0035. This is our maximum compressive strain. Okay. The depth of the neutral axis, notation for depth of the neutral axis is XU, and the maximum depth of neutral axis, it is denoted by XU limiting. Okay, remember this. Maximum depth of neutral axis is XU limiting. So this is XU. This is the depth of neutral axis from topmost fiber. Then what is your tensile strain? Now if I want to get tensile strain, then it is Fy divided by 1.15 ES plus 0.002, that we have discussed already. So I will write here, that is in simple language, in simple wording. So it is 0.87 Fy. This is the stress in the steel divided by Young's modulus of steel. So stress ला जर तुम्ही Young's modulus ने divide केला, if you divide this stress by Young's modulus, then the quantity is strain. Okay, all we know that stress is directly proportional to strain. So this relation we know that stress is directly proportional to strain. Okay, so we take stress is equal to the constant, that is Young's modulus or modulus of elasticity, into strain. So if we divide the stress by strain, then we will get the value of E. And if we do reversal, if we divide this stress by Young's modulus, then what value we will get? We will get the value of strain. Okay, so it is 0.87 Fy is nothing but the stress in steel divided by Young's modulus of steel, that is the strain, plus 0.002. This is the maximum strain at this tensile, what we can say, this fiber where the bars are provided. So let us see, the bars are provided at these points and this is the level. Okay, so at this level, this maximum tensile stress is there. Okay, where the tensile reinforcement is provided. Now this is our strain diagram. This diagram, we call this diagram as a strain diagram. Okay, all these are the standard things. Strain diagram. Then what about the stress diagram? So again this line. So here up to some, you know the graph, we have already discussed about it. For some distance it is up to the certain distance it is straight line, and after that it is parabolic. This is the parabol. Okay, and at this point somewhere, if you project this point on this diagram, strain diagram, here you will get the value of strain. It is 0.002. Okay, and what is the maximum stress here? This is 0.446 FCK. This is the maximum stress. Then where the compressive force is acting? So somewhere near at this area here, the compressive force is acting, and tensile force here at the level of steel it is acting. So at the level of steel, here is the tensile strain, and at the same level this is acting tensile force. So if I draw the tensile force, then it will be like this, and the magnitude of these forces, we will see the magnitude of these forces. The magnitude of this force, this is Cu, our compressive force. It is, I have right above already, 136 FCK B into XU, and this is your TU, tensile force. It is 0.87 Fy into AST. Okay, so this distance is nothing but B. I will show the distances first. So this point, this is B. Okay, from this point to the center of the reinforcement, this is the effective depth, and this depth is the overall depth. So this is your B, width of the section. This is your small d, that is effective depth, and this is capital D, that is overall depth. I hope now you are clear about what is effective depth. I have explained that in the last lecture. Still, if you have any problem in understanding this effective depth, let me know in the chat box now, so I will repeat that concept because these are very important things. Now also we have found that this distance of this force, okay, this distance from the top, that is from this end, okay, if we see this distance, how much it is? It is 0.42 XU, 0.42 times XU. XU is your, here, this is your XU. XU is the depth of the neutral axis. And if you multiply this by 0.42 times, then here you will find these compressive forces. Okay, compressive forces. And what is the area for this? Now, if we see, whatever this area is there above neutral axis, so I will give the name to this. This is our neutral axis, NA, neutral axis. So the fibers above the neutral axis, the fibers, these fibers which are above the neutral axis are subjected to compression, So what is the area of the compression? So we should consider the area above the neutral axis. So what is the area above the neutral axis? If you consider this structure, its width is B, its overall depth is capital D, its effective depth is small d, then area above the neutral axis is this B into XU. So this is the area above the neutral axis. So we multiply this stress by this area. Okay, and then here if you see fibers below the neutral axis, now we want to find out the tensile force. So what is the area of steel provided over here? Because steel is always carries the tension. Steel is very weak in compression. Concrete carries the compression. Concrete is weak in tension. That is why we use this combination in the structure to for the stability. So if you consider this tensile reinforcement, this is the tensile reinforcement, this is the steel reinforcement. So whatever is the area of this reinforcement, this is called as area of the steel, AST. Okay, suppose here if I provided the 10 mm diameter bars, suppose now assume that if you provide 10 mm diameter bars and such a 3 number of bars you have provided over here at this point, then what will be your value of AST? Your AST will be area of single bar, area of steel. So area of the single bar pi by 4 into d square multiplied by 3. Such a 3 bars you have provided. This is the value of your area of steel which you have provided over here. I hope now you understood. So this is your area of the steel. So the tensile force is your stress, that is the 0.87 Fy is the stress in steel into AS. Okay. So these points we have seen in the last lecture. Also the distance between this distance. I am talking about this distance between these two forces. This is called as lever arm. Okay. This is called as lever arm and it is denoted by letter Z. It is denoted by letter Z, lever arm. So the value of lever arm is this tensile force will be acting at this point, okay, at this center. I will draw the line. It is not perfectly horizontal. You understand this. This is the level. Okay, at this level, this force is acting. Remember this. This strain, this strain, and this force are not acting at this bottom. Okay, this strain and this force are acting at this point, uh, at point where I have drawn the this line, okay, in blue ink in the center of the bar. Okay, at this level this strain is acting and this force is acting. This is not acting at the bottom of the beam. Okay, so please be clear with this. This is not acting at a overall depth d. This strain and this tensile force is acting at the effective depth at this point over here. Okay, so now if here I show the distance, if I show the distance, now see, from this topmost point up to this point, this is nothing but this is your effective depth. This is your small d, effective depth. This distance is your effective depth, and up to this point here, this distance is 0.42 xu. So your lever arm will be d minus 0.42 xu. D minus 0.42 xu. This 0.42 xu we have already calculated that formula y bar is equal to a1 y1 plus a2 y2 divided by a1 plus a2. Basic concepts you studied in applied mechanics. Okay, so these are the things which we have studied in the last lecture. Okay, so still I will explain this concept of effective depth once again so that you will not get confused. So I will not repeat this concept again in next chapters because in the whole subject we require this concept of effective depth. So what is the effective depth? Now suppose a structure is there. This is the cross section of the structure. Okay, this is the cross section. Its length इकडे असं मागे गेलेले असणार आहे ही बीम. ओके, बीम म्हणा, लेट अस कन्सिडर दिस इज ॲज अ बीम. इकडे असं मागे गेलेलं असणार. ओके, so if we see the reinforcement is provided here. Here the reinforcement is provided. These are the bars. तर ही reinforcement कशी प्रोव्हाइड केलेली असते नेहमी, हाऊ इट इज प्रोव्हाइडेड. सो while providing this reinforcement, okay, so see, if you see, this is the bottom of this tensile reinforcement. Okay, this is not exactly provided at the bottom, it is provided by leaving some distance from the bottom. Okay, this distance, this is called as clear cover. This is called as clear cover. From the side also some distance we are provided at some distance. Okay, from side also we provide some clear cover. This is called as side cover. Okay, side cover. किती असतंय काय असतंय ते आपण नंतर बघू. Just to understand. Okay. Now if I want to, we know that this is the width of the section. If we see, this is our B, and this is the overall depth of the section from this point to this point. This is the overall depth. This is your B, width of the section, and this is overall depth, capital D. Whenever in this subject now, whenever I am using the small d notation, then you must understand that it is the effective depth, and whenever I use capital D, then it is the overall depth. Okay, so now what is the effective depth? So to find out the effective depth, now see, if I see this, if I draw this center line, this line is passing through the center of all these bars. Okay, through the center of all these bars. So whatever is the distance from the top, remember from compression side we are always measuring this. Okay, from the top, this is nothing but this is our effective depth. Okay, this is our effective depth, small d, from the top to the center of the bar. This is your small d. This is your clear cover, and this distance is half of bar diameter. हे जे असतंय ते बार डायमीटरचा हाफ असतो. म्हणजे मी इथं कसं लिहू शकतो, सो कॅपिटल डी, so this total distance capital D is nothing but this is small d plus half of bar diameter, okay, plus clear cover. Okay, clear cover. So I can write here D is equal to effective overall depth is equal to effective depth plus, let us assume that the diameter of these bars is phi. Phi is the diameter of the bar, then it is phi by 2. Okay, and plus here clear cover, whatever may be the clear cover, it is provided 15 mm, 20 mm, 25 mm. Generally, now note down these points. Generally, for the slabs, the clear cover is in between 15 mm to 20 mm for slabs. Okay, for beams, it is generally in between 25 mm to 30 mm. Okay, maximum it is 25 mm, but in some cases for beams we will provide it up to 30 mm, 25 to 30 mm, and for the columns it is 40 mm. For the column, clear cover is 40 mm, and for the footings the clear cover is 50 mm. Okay, for the footings clear cover is 50 mm. I will repeat once again. For slab, the clear cover is 15 mm to 20 mm. For beam, clear cover is in between 25 mm to 30 mm. For column, clear cover is provided as 40 mm. And for footings, clear cover is 50 mm, 50. So this is the concept of effective depth. Now what I want to tell you, that strain diagram what we have drawn. Okay. So why clear cover is provided? So I think you have learned this subject, concrete technology. You must study in this subject now, in that subject only. So the clear cover is provided because See what happens. This Cg of the compressive force, what is the total compressive force is acting on the structure and what is the tensile force is there, that Cg should be matched with the Cg of this diagram. That is the one thing. Second thing, while placing this steel now, if we place this steel exactly at the bottom, then while doing the concreting, आता concreting जेव्हा तुम्ही करताय site वरती, while doing the concreting, the spacing between the bars may get dislocated. Okay, due to the pouring of the concrete. Sometimes the concreting is done with the RMC also. So to keep these bars at those position, even though we tie those bars from the bottom, we provide clear covers. Clear cover म्हणजे काय असतात? असे कॉन्क्रीटचे ब्लॉक असतात छोटे छोटे. ओके, असे कॉन्क्रीटचे छोटे छोटे ब्लॉक असतात. ओके, आणि ह्याचं ही जी हाईट असते ही 15 mm. ओके, और दिस मे बी 20 mm. असे ते खाली ठेवलेले असतात हलू नयेत म्हणून. ओके, and also we avoid the direct contact at the bottom. Okay, so now the strain. So why I have explained you all these things. Now see, if I project this, okay, if I project this line and if I continue this line, if I continue this line and with different color, I will show you this bottom line. This is the bottom line, and then we will draw one neutral axis, and this is the position of the neutral axis. So I will write over here. This is our neutral axis, NA, neutral axis of the beam. So whatever strain diagram we have drawn, that strain diagram must be like this only. Now I will draw the freehand sketch. So it is like this. At this point, here you will get the maximum tensile strength. This is your 0.0035. It is okay, but at this point it is 0.87 Fy divided by ES plus 0.002. This is the maximum tensile strength at this point, not at this point. Okay, see where I am drawing that. Then also if we draw again this diagram, the stress diagram. Okay, the stress diagram, then this is the shape of the diagram. This is the shape of the diagram. Then your compressive force and tensile forces are here at some point over here. This is the compressive force, and here your tensile force will be there. Okay, so this is your CU. Now I will not write the formulas. Just for the understanding, I am showing you the level where these forces are acting. So the tensile force is acting at which level? Is acting at the level of steel, not at the bottom. This is your bottom level. It is not acting at the bottom. So remember this. Okay. So this is the introduction. This is your first unit introduction. Okay. So with this, our first unit is end over here. This is what this basic diagram of limit state which we have studied in this first lecture. So the strain above the neutral axis, this all area, this is your compressive strain, this is your compressive area, this is the area of compressive force, and below the neutral axis where the steel is provided, this is your area of steel. If we give name to this, this is your AST, area of the steel, which is provided to resist the bending moment. To resist the bending moment, this steel is provided. And now, if you see the effect XU, that is the depth of the neutral axis from top. So this is XU, and the distance of this is the distance from top up to the neutral axis. is your XU. Okay, and again if we project this line up to this point over here from here, then this is nothing but here at this point your strain is 0.00, sorry, not at this point, below that point, here from this point. If I project the line from this point, so here the strain is here at this point, the strain is 0.002, and this is approximately 0.43 XU for the strain I am talking about. And if you see this force, okay, the distance of this force from the top, this is the distance. If you want to calculate this distance, then this is 0.42 XU. 0.42 XU. I hope now you understood this diagram. Now here if you see, this is your effective depth up to this point. So up to this point from the top, this is the effective depth. This is your effective depth. So if I want to calculate the distance between these two, then from this total effective depth, from this total depth, if I deduct this value, if I deduct this, then I will get the distance between these two forces, tensile and compressive forces. And this is also called as lever arm. This is also called as the lever arm. Okay. So this is your first unit, introduction. Now anybody has any doubt in this? Anybody has any difficulty? कुठल्या व्हॅल्यू काय काय नाही, ही जी मॅक्सिमम व्हॅल्यू आहे स्ट्रेसची, सो दिस व्हॅल्यू मॅक्सिमम व्हॅल्यू ऑफ स्ट्रेस इज 0.446 FCK. ओके, 0.446 FCK. झिरो पॉईंट फोर फोर सिक्स FCK कसं आलं हे पण तुम्हाला मी सांगितलेलं आहे. ओके, कसं आलं होतं ते, we consider FCK first. Okay, FCK is what? Characteristic strength. It is characteristic strength of concrete. It is characteristic strength of concrete. Okay, but this is the characteristic strength of concrete blocks which we test in our lab. But on site, whenever we are doing the construction, we are constructing a structure, the bonding of this that concrete is not like that which is there in the lab. लॅब मध्ये तुम्ही एक स्मॉल क्वांटिटी वरती ब्लॉक बनवता. When you prepare these blocks for the testing to calculate the FCK, we prepare 3, 5, 10 blocks. Okay, and the size of those blocks is 150 mm by 150 mm by 150 mm. Okay, so 150 mm width, 150 mm depth, and 150 mm length. These small blocks we prepared. Okay, but while doing the construction on the site, the construction is massive, so there are highly chances that there will be the decrease in the strength. So that factor we consider, and we divide this by 1.5. So if we divide this FCK by 1.5, then what value we get? It is near about 0.67 FCK. Okay, now this is actually on the site the actual strength. of this concrete block. Okay, actual strength of the concrete. But on site also we consider the factor of safety. Okay, for design, this is the value which we are getting actually on site. Okay, actually on site. But while design, we provide some factor of safety for design. Okay, so that in future if the load increases, the structure should not collapse. Okay, it should give the sufficient signal before collapsing. Okay, so that we can minimize the damage. So for designing, what we do, this is 0.67 FCK, this is the strength. So again it is divided by 1.5 by the factor of safety. So if you divide it again by 1.5, then the value is 0.446 FCK, and this stress, this value we considered for the design purpose in limit state. Okay, this value, if this factor of safety would have been not considered, then this stress, okay, if these factor of safety would have been not considered in the calculation, then this stress must be FCK only. Okay, are you getting my point? And why we are using the stress in concrete at the topmost level? Because the fibers above the neutral axis are subjected to compression, and we know that concrete is very strong in compression. Concrete will take all the compressive stresses and all the compressive forces. Okay, so the resistance to the compressive forces will be provided by the concrete. Therefore, at this topmost level we will consider the stress in the concrete. Okay, and at this level now, where the steel is provided, area of steel is there. So this steel is provided to resist the bending, to resist the bending moment. You have studied already what is the shear force and bending moment. Now you know that what is bending moment. So to resist that bending moment, this steel is provided. Okay, so steel is provided at the bottom. So the fibers below the neutral axis are generally subjected to the tensile stresses and tensile forces. Okay, so while evaluating this tensile force, we will take the stress in the steel because it is provided at the bottom. So therefore, the tensile forces are developed at the bottom, and the compressive forces are developed at the top. And while doing the calculation of this compressive force, we will consider the maximum compressive stress which we have considered for this design after applying the factor of safety, that is 0.446 FCK. अशी याची व्हॅल्यू आलेली आहे 0.446 FCK ची. ओके, जर आपण काहीच फॅक्टर ऑफ सेफ्टी कन्सिडर केलं नसतं, काहीच घेतलं नसतं, तर इथं व्हॅल्यू डायरेक्ट FCK लिहिली असते आपण. Okay, I hope now how this 0.446 FCK is clear to you. FCK is the characteristic strength, but it is the characteristic strength when we prepare the small blocks, okay, 10, 15, 20, 30 blocks, and we test those blocks on compressive testing machine, and the size of those blocks are very very small as compared to the construction on the site. Okay, size of those blocks are just 15 centimeter by 15 centimeter by 15 centimeter, or we can say 150 mm by 150 mm by 150 mm. Okay, so that is why we apply the compressive strain is by more at the outermost fiber. So we have already studied that now in first lecture. Are you present or absent? You have studied that m by I is equal to f upon y is equal to E by R, that formula of bending stresses. Okay, bending stresses. So bending stresses are compressive at the top. Okay, bending stresses are compressive at the top. So the compressive, if the stress is maximum compressive stress is at the top, then the maximum compressive strain is at the top. Okay. So see, if I draw the diagram over here, see if you see the bending profile. Now suppose this is a beam. Now for the understanding purpose, consider this. This is the beam, and after the application of the load, this beam will bend. After the application of the load, suppose now in this way the load is acting over here. Okay, at the center here the neutral axis is there. So now this beam will bend in this fashion. This is the bending of the beam. I think this diagram we have already drawn. So this is the bending of the beam. Now this is the neutral axis. Okay, so in the theory of bending you studied that the fibers above the neutral axis are subjected to compression. Okay, and fibers below the neutral axis are subjected to tension in this condition. So the fibers above the neutral axis are subjected to which force? Compressive force or compressive stress. Okay, so here the compressive force is developed. So force is compressive, stress is not equal to I want stress is also compressive, which implies that the stress is compressive. So ultimately strain is also compressive. Okay, so now at this fiber, outermost fiber, we are getting the maximum compressive strength. Then why it is the maximum? Because we are getting the maximum value of YC here, distance of the outermost fiber. Okay, the formula you know that M by I is equal to F upon Y is equal to E by R. Okay, so if I want to calculate the maximum stress F, then what is my formula? It is M into Y divided by I. Okay, so M is your moment, it depends upon the load, so this is constant. I is also moment of inertia of the cross section. Okay, if we consider this is the cross section, here your value B and D, so you will calculate the moment of inertia Ixx. So I was trying to explain you that the question which is asked is why is the maximum compressive strain is at the top. Okay, so at the top you get the maximum compressive stress, then force is also maximum, therefore the strain is also maximum. That is the simple thing. If I show you M by I into Y, this is the formula for your stress. Okay, so now what is happening now? Suppose this is the member, this is the member, this is your neutral axis, this is the neutral axis, this is your topmost fiber, this is top fiber. Okay, so M is the bending moment. Suppose now the value of bending moment is 100. I is the moment of inertia, it is also 100. Now the value is not changing. M, the bending moment, it is the formula, maybe it is simply supported, then it is WL square by 8. I is the moment of inertia, if it is rectangular section, then it is BD cube by 12. Okay, B is constant, D is constant. So this value is not going to change. तुमचा क्रॉस सेक्शन असा थ्रूआउट सेक्शन सेम असणार आहे, असा सेक्शन असणार आहे तुमचा. Okay, so the cross section is not going to change at any point. मी कुठेही section घेऊ दे, इथं कुठेही घेऊ दे, cross section will remain same. So this B and D will remain same. So this I will remain same. Load intensity is same. We know the load on this structure. What is the intensity of load is acting? 10 kilonewton, 12 kilonewton. So this load is same. L is also same. This is the length of the member. Length of the member change होणार नाही तुमची. So M is also constant. Okay, M is also constant. So if you see that it directly depends upon the Y. If this is constant and this is also constant, then now it depends upon this Y. Now what is the meaning of Y? Y is nothing but this is the distance of extreme fiber from neutral axis, so we want to calculate the compressive force, so this is our maximum distance. YC. If I take any intermediate layer, suppose now, if I want to calculate the force over here, if I take this layer, okay. So this whatever may be this distance, so now I will call this as YC dash. Okay. So if I want to calculate, suppose this is layer EF and this is the layer AB. So naturally, if you see at this layer EF, the distance YC dash is less as compared to if you see this layer AB, the distance YC as compared to this distance. YC means distance of the topmost fiber, okay, compression fiber. So I have written here it is yc. So this is greater. So if you multiply here by the greater distance, you will get the greater stress. Okay, you will get the greater stress. Now if you get this greater stress, then at this point the strain is also high because the stress is high. Okay, are you getting the point? Because the stress and strain are directly proportional to each other. We are seeing here the linear variation. It obeys the Hooke's law. Stress is directly proportional to strain. One increases, other also increases. So that is why at the top we are getting the maximum tensile stress. And in bottom, if you see at bottom, the maximum distance of compressive fiber is YT. Suppose this is layer CD, and if I consider any intermediate layer over here, okay, suppose it is MO. So let be this distance is YT dash. So if you see this YT is always greater than this YT dash. So the tensile stress at the bottommost fiber, extreme fiber, is always greater. Okay. So I hope now you are clear with these points. Okay. So now based on this, now I will share the assignment questions with you for this unit. So you need to solve it, and our from here on our all test will be the maybe majority of the tests are MCQ tests. So during the lecture, timing of the lecture, after completion of each unit, I will share you one Google form. In that Google form, multiple choice questions will be there, and you need to give the answer of those. Okay, at the end we will take these marks into the consideration while giving your ISC marks and term out marks. Okay, test may be of any marks. It may be sometimes it may be of 20 marks, it may be of 15 marks, it may be of 30 marks, or it may be of 50 marks also. So after completion of each unit, you should prepare for the test. Okay. I will also share some of the MCQ questions with you regarding this unit. So now this is the basic information for the limit state method. Okay. So anybody having any doubt now? Any other doubts? Just let me know yes or no. If your answer is no, we will move to the next unit. Why to waste the time? If you want to ask any question regarding this, you can ask now. You can type the question into the chat box. So I will try to answer it. And if there is no question from your side, then we will move forward. So just give me the answer. Is there any question from your side? Yes, no. Okay. No. Okay. So the key points over here, the summary of this unit, if I want to summarize this unit, what we learned is in this unit. So just within the 5 minutes, I will give you the summary so that accordingly you can do the study. Okay. So point number one, working stress method. Okay, what was exactly happening in working stress method that we have discussed. Then second thing is ultimate stress or load method. Okay, ultimate load method. So here we have discussed how this method is overcome, or the next version of this working stress method. Okay, and what was the problem in this method also we have discussed that. Then after this, third point, we have discussed the limit state method. This is the third method which we are using for the design. Then again, this method is divided into two types: limit state of collapse, limit state of serviceability. At that time, I have told you, and I have also given you the notes. I hope now you have write down those notes with me whenever I was writing here on the board. So after this, we have studied we have studied stress strain curve, design stress strain curve, design stress strain curve for concrete and steel. ह्याच्यावरूनच आपण डिसाइड केलेलं ना. For concrete we are taking 0.446 FCK. That was the graph. If you are not remembering, I will draw here that. Okay, roughly I will draw that. This is the graph, if you remember. Okay, this is your FCK graph. Then below this is your 0.67 FCK graph, and below this is your 0.446 FCK. This we are already studied. Same for the steel. Okay, and we know that this level where it comes, so it becomes straight line. This is 0.002 strain level. Okay, same we have studied for the steel also. The next point we have studied some definitions we have seen. Some definitions, that what is load factor, then what is the characteristics load, then what is the characteristic strength. These are some basic definitions which we have studied. Then after that we studied the stress block diagram, stress block diagram, and strain block diagram, strain block diagram. कुणासाठी? For limit state method, for limit state method. So in this we have drawn that strain block diagram, stress block diagram. We have find out the value of the compressive force which is at the top. Okay, so the depth of neutral axis from the top of the from the top it is XU, and that XU is nothing but the depth. Okay, Cu is the compressive force which is 0.36 FCK B into XU, its value. Tu is the tensile force, it is again 0.87 Fy into AST. The distance between this compressive force and tensile force, it is called as lever arm. Okay, the distance between the compressive force and this tensile force Cu and Tu, या दोघांमधले जे डिस्टन्स आहे त्याला म्हणतात लिव्हर आर्म. इट इज डिनोटेड बाय लेटर Z. Okay, and this lever arm Z is equal to D minus 0.42 XD. This we have also seen. Okay, so these are the highlights of this unit. So now start your study regarding this first unit based on these points. Okay, and if you come across any difficulty, you can send it to me on the WhatsApp. Okay, if you are not able to ask here, then you can send it to me on the WhatsApp. So all these points are covered in this unit. So here our first unit ends. So now after this we will move to our second unit. Now unit number 2, second unit, it is design of slabs. That is design of slabs. Okay. So for your syllabus now, there are four types of slabs are there in your syllabus. You need to design. Okay. So those slabs are, first is one way slab. I will explain one by one what it is. One way slab. Just I am telling you what is there in your syllabus. Then second is two-way slab. Third is cantilever slab, then fourth is one way continuous slab. The design of all these four slabs we are going to study in detail. Okay, and in the examination, if it is not online and if it is decided that it is offline, then 100% one question will be there. Okay, and in the online examination also many MCQs regarding this will be there in the examination. Design of slab: one way slab, two way slab, cantilever slab, and one way continuous slab. These four slabs we are going to design. Okay, so these four slabs we are going to design. Now we will see one by one what is the meaning of these slabs. Okay. So what is slab basically? The slab is a flexural member. The stiffness is very small as compared to the other two dimensions. Okay, L and B. It's so basically there is some there are some types of the slabs. So apart from these four types, the slabs are two-way continuous slab is also there. Then flat slab is also there. Then grid slab is also there. Then circular slab. Okay. So apart from these four types, there are other types also, but those are not there for your syllabus. Okay. Now what is the one-way slab? So now if I draw the diagram of the slab, so here suppose this is the slab. Okay, this is the plan. If you are viewing this from the top view, this is the slab. Okay. Now the length in the x direction of the slab, this is called as Lx. Okay. The length in the x parallel to the x-axis or this direction, it is called as Lx, and this length is called as Ly. This length is called as Ly. Now, when this ratio of this Ly by Lx, when this Ly by Lx ratio is greater than 2, then the slab is known as one-way slab. Okay, once again I will tell you, this is the slab which we are seeing from the top. Okay, this is the length in x direction of the slab. This horizontal length is in the x direction. This is the length in y direction, that is Ly, length in y direction, length in x direction. When you take the ratio of this Ly by Lx ratio, these are the effective lengths. So Ly by Lx ratio, when you take, if that Ly by Lx ratio is greater than 2, then the slab is the one-way slab. Now for example, I will tell you, suppose now the value of this Ly, suppose this length is 7.2 meter. Okay, and suppose now this Lx is 2.5 meter. Now if you take the ratio of this Ly by Lx, if you take the ratio of this Ly by Lx, so your Ly is 7.2, your Lx is 2.5. So this ratio is definitely greater than 2. Okay, because 2.5 into 2, it comes about near about 5. So this ratio is greater than 2. So this type of slab is considered as a one-way slab. This type of slab is considered as a one-way slab. I hope now it is very simple. This slab is one-way slab. So now, what is the significance of one-way slab and how the load is transferred? So now see, any slab, it is supported at the bottom by beams. तुम्ही नेहमी बघितलंय की स्लॅबच्या खाली हे काय असतात, नेहमी बीम्स असतात. Okay, so the slab may be supported on parallel two sides. Slab may be supported on parallel two sides. It may be on these two sides, or it may be on these two sides, or it may be supported on all four sides. Okay, depending upon the boundary condition. म्हणजे कधी कधी स्लॅबला दोन पॅरल साइड्सला इकडे इकडेच बीम प्रोव्हाइड केलेले असतात, या बाजूला बीम्स नसतात. Or otherwise, in many of the cases, the beams are provided at all the four sides. Okay. Okay, but if the ratio, and question is, if the ratio is equal to 2, then what we have to design which slab? So we will come to that point after this. So first understand this, whatever I am telling you, then I will tell you if the ratio is exactly 2, what we are going to do. Okay. Okay. So now this is the slab. कुठं होतो मी? Now see, if you see the loading of this slab. Okay. So the beams are provided over here. So I will give the names. Suppose now here is your beam number 1, here is beam number 2, here is beam number 3, here is beam number 4. म्हणजे याच्या खाली अशा beams असणार आहेत. Okay. So the beams are provided like that below the slab. Light गेली का? Okay. So now we are discussing about the slabs. So I was telling you about the one-way slab. Okay. So this is the one-way slab, and below the slab the beams are provided. Let us assume that below the slab the beams are provided. Now, if I want to draw the loading diagram of this slab on the different beams, then it will be the load transfer to the beam. It is in this way. Okay. This is the load transfer. Now, if I give the name A, B, C, D. So when this load from the beam slab it is transferred to the beam, from the load of the slab it is transferred to the beam. If you consider this beam AB, then this load will be transferred in this triangular fashion. If you consider the beam BC, then it is transferred in this trapezoidal fashion. Okay. So this is the load transfer from slab to beam. स्लॅब कडून बीमला लोड कसा जातो त्याचं डिस्ट्रीब्युशन तुम्हाला इथे दाखवलेलं आहे. In this way, this load is transferred from slab to beam. Now our case is Ly by Lx. When this Ly by Lx ratio is greater than 2, then I have told you it is one way slab. So what is the meaning of this one way? Okay, I am repeating this name one way, one way. What is the meaning of one way? One way means what? When we are going to provide the steel, okay, while providing the steel, okay, after designing the slab or in the design of the slab, while providing the steel or area of steel, we provide main steel main steel only in one direction. Okay, we provide main steel only in one direction, and in the second direction or in other direction we provide distribution steel. We provide distribution steel, or this is also called as minimum steel. So I know that you won't understand many these things right now, but I will tell you what is it. Okay, why it is called as one-way slab, what is main steel and what is distribution steel. So let me tell you one thing, what is the meaning of main steel and what is the meaning of distribution steel, so that you will understand this word, why it is called as one-way slab. So this is most important thing. Once you know the concept behind that, then it will be easier for you to design the slab. Okay, designing of the slab is very easy. So first before going to the design procedure is very easy, but we should know how to deal with this. So now, main steel and distribution steel. So what is main steel? So now suppose slab is there. So suppose slab, due to the loading, what will happen? Slab will bend. Okay, some bending moment is generated in the slab. Okay, this is the bending of the slab. So this bending moment is generated in the slab. What generated? Bending moment is developed or generated, okay, in the slab. To resist this bending moment, to resist this bending moment, okay, to resist this bending moment, we provide steel in the slab. Okay, we provide steel in the slab, and that provided steel is known as main steel because we design that steel. That steel, due to the loading, bending moment is get developed in the slab. Okay, and to resist that bending moment, we provide some steel in the slab, and that steel is known as main steel. Okay, this is the one thing. Now, what is the distribution steel? So, distribution steel is not the steel which we design. Means what? Distribution steel is not provided for the loading. ओके, आता बेंडिंग मुवमेंट या स्लॅबची इथे यायला लागली आहे मॅक्सिमम, तर मॅक्सिमम बेंडिंग मुवमेंट तुम्ही ऑलरेडी स्टील डिझाईन केलेलं आहे आणि ते स्टील म्हणजे तुम्ही त्याला काय म्हणताय? मेन स्टील. दिस इज कॉल्ड ॲज मेन स्टील अँड दिस इज प्रोव्हाइडेड इन द शॉर्टर डायरेक्शन, while the distribution steel is provided along the longer direction. This steel is the minimum reinforcement. This is the minimum reinforcement. This is the minimum steel reinforcement as per IS 456-2000. This is the minimum steel. This is also called as temperature steel. This is also called as shrinkage steel. This is also called as shrinkage steel. Okay, so this is the distribution steel and this is the main steel. You keep in mind that we design the main steel. Okay, we calculate what is the area of main steel required in this slab, but we won't design the distribution steel. Okay, the value of distribution steel is given in the IS 456-2000. Some clauses are given in the IS code. By using those clauses, we are going to provide the distribution steel. This is the basic difference between main steel and distribution steel. Now come back to our slab. Okay, now if we consider this slab, now we will take some values so that it is easy to understand. Suppose this is 2.5 meter and this is 7.2 meter. Okay, so as usual, you take Ly by Lx ratio. If you take Ly by Lx ratio, your Ly is 7.2, your Lx is 2.5. Definitely it is greater than 2. This is one way slab. Okay, this is one way slab. So in the case of one way slab, our main steel is always provided in one direction only. In another direction, we provide distribution steel. So that is why this slab is called as one way slab. In one way slab, main steel is always provided. These are the key points. If you want, you can note it down. Main steel is always provided in shorter direction. In shorter direction. Okay. And distribution steel is provided along longer direction. Along longer direction. म्हणजे काय? तर see, if we design, then our main steel is always provided in shorter direction. तुमचं main steel जे आहे ते तुम्ही एकाच डायरेक्शनला प्रोव्हाइड करताय. Your main steel is provided along the shorter direction. So this 2.5 meter is your shorter direction, and this 7.2 meter is your longer direction. So main steel is always provided along the shorter direction or in the shorter direction. So main steel is provided along only one direction, that is why it is known as one way slab. So main steel is provided along only one direction, so it is called as one way slab. So if I tell you in the diagram, so in this way the main steel is provided. These are the bars of the main steel. Okay, this is the main steel bars. In this way the main steel is provided, which is parallel to the shorter direction. This you will understand while solving the problem. Okay, it more clearly you will understand this. So this is nothing but this is nothing but if I draw this, this is your main steel. These are the lines which represents this is main steel. This is main steel which is provided parallel to the shorter direction or along the shorter direction. Okay, and in the longer direction and in the longer direction distribution steel is provided. So in this way, like this, distribution steel is provided like this. This is the direction of distribution steel. In this direction distribution steel is provided. Okay, this is your distribution steel. This is your distribution steel. This is called as distribution steel. Now if you observe this slab, your main steel is provided only along a single direction, that is only along the one direction. That is why this type of slab is called as one way slab. Now it is obvious that if you consider two-way slab, then in the two-way slab on the both sides main steel is provided. So it is called as two-way slab in shorter direction as well as in longer direction. But in the one-way slab, only along the shorter direction main steel is provided and along the longer direction distribution steel is provided. Now it is why it is provided like that. Okay, why it is provided like that. So the answer behind that is the deflection. Okay. Answer behind that is the deflection. So now if I draw the deflection diagram along this shorter line, so if I draw the deflection diagram, so deflection along the shorter line is in this way, along the shorter span. Okay, so this is the deflection curve along the shorter span. And if we see the longer span, if we see the longer span, then the deflection will be, it is like this. Okay, so this is parabolic. This is parabolic and this is constant. This is constant. Now see, point to understand over here. See, if you see the shorter direction, your deflection profile is parabolic. So if you calculate the deflection at the various points on this shorter direction, then you will get the curve this as a parabolic curve. Okay, if the parabolic curve is there, then your deflection is more, and if the deflection is more, then the beam can fail due to deflection also. So that is why your main steel is there. That main steel should try to resist this deflection and should try to resist the bending moment also. Okay, bending moment and deflection are two different terminologies. Okay, steel is provided, its first purpose is to resist the bending moment, and also it is provided to resist the deflection so that the structure should not fail, will not fail. So if you see, this is the parabolic type. Okay, so the deflection is varying, is parabolic, and this is the constant deflection. constant. Okay, so if we see, to resist this deflection, the deflection is more at the shorter direction as compared to the deflection at the longer direction. Okay, so to resist that deflection, we always provide our main steel, whatever our main steel is there, parallel to this shorter direction. Here we will provide our main steel. Okay, so these are our main steel bars. This is main steel. Okay, so I think there is some problem. So I hope now you understood what I am trying to tell you. So that is why here our main steel is provided like this. This is our main steel. This is our main steel. These are the main steel, and it is provided in this direction because the deflection along this direction is more. It is parabolic. Okay. And if you see, we provide the distribution steel along this direction. Provide the distribution steel along this direction. This is called as distribution steel, or it is called as minimum steel. This is called as distribution steel or minimum steel. And why it is minimum? Because if we see the deflection curve along this slab, okay, then this deflection curve is constant. It is not much more value it is having. It is like this as compared to the two-way slab. Okay, so these are the deflection curve. That is why the reason is we provide the main steel along only in one direction, that is only along shorter direction. आणि main steel तुम्ही एकाच direction ला provide करताय. That is why the name of this slab is one-way slab. Okay. So when the Ly by Lx your ratio is greater than 2, you will go for one-way slab. So this is the information for the one-way slab. Okay. Now what is the two-way slab? Next thing is, what is the two-way slab? Now again, if I draw the diagram, now you can easily predict this. What is the two-way slab? In a two-way slab, when your ratio Ly by Lx is less than or equal to 2, then you design the slab as a two-way slab. Okay, when your Ly by Lx ratio, this is Ly, this is Lx, when your Ly by Lx ratio is less than or equal to 2, then you can design that slab as a two-way slab. Okay, this is theoretically, but generally, practically, if you see any structural designer, that structural designer will see the Ly by Lx ratio of 1.5. If the Ly by Lx ratio is greater than 1.5, then he will go for two-way slab. And if it is less than or equal to 1.5, then he will come for the two-way slab, and if it is greater than 1.5, then he will go for one-way slab. Okay, so this is the practically I am telling you, but as per the IS code, as per the Indian standards, these are the values. If Ly by Lx ratio is greater than 2, then it is one-way slab. If Ly by Lx ratio is less than or equal to 2, then it is two-way slab. Now what is the basic difference in these two slabs, one-way slab and two-way slab? So in the two-way slab, now from the name it is clear to you that our main steel is provided in the both directions. So here also you are designing the steel what is needed. Okay, here also you are designing the steel what is needed. So here is the main steel you are going to provide, main steel in X direction. Okay, and here along Y direction also you are going to provide the main steel parallel to Y direction along the Y direction. So this is again, this is also your main steel. This is also your main steel. Okay. Now why it is provided like this? The simple answer is The deflection at the shorter span and at the longer span, both the deflections are parabolic deflections. To resist that deflection, steel is provided in the both the direction. Okay, so if we draw the diagram for the deflection, okay, if we draw the diagram for the deflection, then the diagram will be, this is the parabolic deflection along the shorter span, and this is the parabolic deflection along the longer span. Okay, so these two deflections are parabolic. It is, its nature is parabolic nature. Okay, these are the deflections. So to resist these deflections, we provide the main steel in the both the directions. We provide the main steel in both the directions. So that is why these types of slabs are called as a two-way slab. So it is two-way. The name is two-way. Okay. So this is the one-way slab and two-way slab. This is the theory behind the one-way slab and two-way slab. Okay. So based on again the different boundary conditions, that is the different types of supports provided to the slab. If the slab is supported on the two parallel sides, or if the slab is supported on all the four sides, depending upon that different conditions we need to consider while designing the slab. Okay. So this is the basic concept of one-way slab and two-way slab. This is the basic theory. Now after this we will move for the numerical problems, and in while solving the problems I will tell you the design steps. Okay, while solving itself I will tell you the design steps. Okay, so we will take the problem first, so that in today's lecture we will take down the problem, I think, and in the next lecture we will solve it. Okay, so I will take the problem first. Design a simply supported slab. Design a simply supported slab. Supports on a masonry wall. Supports supports on a masonry wall. Masonry wall of size 3 meter by 6.5 meter. Okay. Of size 3 meter by 6.5 meter. Full stop. The slab carries a live load of, the slab carries a live load of 4,000 Newton per meter square. 4,000 Newton per meter square. Use M20 and Fe415. Use M20. Use M20 concrete and Fe415 steel. Take width of support as 120 mm on each side. Take the width of support as 120 mm on each side. So I think still 10 minutes is remaining. So we will take first step. We will solve first step for this problem. Note down this problem. Okay. Now we will move for the solution. So while solving this, I will tell you how to design this and I will explain you how those values come. So now, if you read the problem carefully, what they have given to you. Design a simply supported slab supports on a masonry wall of size 3 मीटर by 6.5 मीटर. म्हणजे ही स्लॅबची साईज दिलेली आहे, वॉलची साईज दिलेली नाहीये, एवढं तर लक्षात घ्या. हा Okay. So in the examination, these types of sentences will be there. So students get confused and they will take the size of masonry wall as 3 meter by 6.5 meter. It is not like that. Okay, it is supported at the end by the wall, masonry wall, and the size of the slab is 3 meter by 6.5 meter. Okay, it is clear in the first sentence. The slab carries a live load of 4000 Newton per meter square. Now slab is there. Okay. So slab carries two types of load. First is dead load, second is live load. Dead load is weight of the slab and floor finish weight. And live load is the hour load. Means persons are walking on that slab and those types of things. Okay. So then use M20 concrete and Fe415 steel. Take the width of support as 120 mm on each side. Okay, so the support width is 120 mm. So what is this masonry wall is given? Its width is 120 mm. This is the given problem. Now first thing, when you come across the problem of the this slab, okay, first you need to decide that whether it is one-way slab or whether it is two-way slab. Okay, this is your first thing. So to decide that it is one-way slab or two-way slab, what we will do? We will take the ratio of Ly by Lx. Okay, so here you should write taking the ratio of longer length. Okay, longer length. Your longer length is always Ly. Longer length to the shorter length, that is Lx. Okay, so here I will write longer length divided by shorter length is equal to. So the slab panel is of size 3 meter by 6.5 meter. So your shorter side is 3 meter, your longer side is 6.5 meter. So it is 6.5 divided by 3. What is the answer? So the answer is 2.16. Okay. So it is 2.16. So now is it greater than 2 or less than 2? Obviously it is greater than 2. It is greater than 2. So if we got this value as a greater than 2, then our next sentence must be designing designing one way slab. One way slab. Okay. आणि हे कुठून आलं? तर if you go to the IS code, now I will show you the IS code. We will move to the IS code first. Where is the IS code? This is the IS code. Okay. So in this IS code, if we go to the page number, I think 100 or something, page number 90, we need to go for page number 90, which is 87, 88, 89, 90. Okay, on this page number, see here, it is given. If you see, I will annotate this. What is given over here? You read this clause. IS code is allowed for you in the examination. Ly by Lx is greater than 2. The slab shall be considered spanning one way. Okay, so we will design the slab as a one way slab. So here in this case now we got the value as greater than 2. So our slab is, we are going to design our slab as a one way slab from IS 456 2000. Okay, D 1.11 page number 90 that says this. Okay, so here we must write that. या आपण तसं तिथं लिहायला पाहिजे की आपण ते कुठून घेतोय, काय घेतोय. ओके, so now again we will move to our problem. So we will move to the whiteboard. So from where we, why we are saying this? We are saying this because of it is as per it is given in D 1.11 page number 90 of IS 456 2000. It says that. आलं लक्षात कुठून घेतलं ते आपण. Okay, this is D. So this is your first step. So we finalize that whatever slab we are going to design, that slab is a one way slab. This is your step number 1. Now for the remaining steps, how to design the slab, that we will see in the next lecture.